Hey, I'm Abba's Girl Family. Welcome back to the conversation. I'm Tiffany, aka Royalty. That's Royal, capital T, two E's. Listen, you guys, today's discussion is going to be in regards to soul ties. So, what I'm going to talk about this in regards to some kind of current events, maybe kind of, stuff that's been in the news. You've heard about it. I had this conversation in regards to soul ties. On my other channel, and it sparked something else, and then another incident happened. So let me just get into it. So we're going to be talking about soul ties, but when people hear the word soul ties, they tend to automatically assume that soul ties means sex, but there's other ways that you can have soul ties, right? Like you can be soul ties. There's, first of all, let's just say that not all soul ties are bad, right? You have soul ties that connect you with family members and things like that, and only if the relationship is toxic does the soul tie become toxic. But soul ties of themselves, they're not evil. They don't start off just like being bad. They just turn that way when the relationship turns toxic. And in this discussion, we're going to talk about how you can be soul tied to different things, or soul tied to certain narratives and things, to the point where it now is having an effect on your life, and it's not a good effect. It's having like negative effects because of the soul tie. So let me just get into it. So a lot of people have been hearing about the Cheyenne Bryant situation that's going on, and it's been going on for a couple of weeks, like I said, but I'm going to dive into that a little different as well. So let me just get started. So in regards to the Dr. Cheyenne Bryant situation, what I believe, and I've mentioned this on my other channel, Soul and Screen, is that I believe what's happening there is, for those who may not know the fullness of it or haven't heard about it, let me say that because I don't know the fullness of it either, but just the way that it's playing out on social media. And it's what happened was, it's this particular woman. She said that she is a doctor. She calls her name is Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. And I say her name because I think we found out that she actually had her name trademarked, Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. And so, but turns out that she's not an actual doctor. She did not get her degree in psychology or anything. She went apparently to school and received the credits and everything like that, but she's having an issue showing the receipts, meaning the diploma, her transcripts, that she graduated, her dissertation, anything. And so she's not bringing any evidence to the fact. And so people in the community of psychology and things like that, they kind of told her, like, you might want to go ahead and drop the doctor since you're not, and just be like a life coach. But she like got so upset about that, where she started kind of acting out of character. And from what I have seen her, because I've actually shared a few of her her comments and things like that with friends in my circle, because I thought some of the insight that she had was very profound, and yeah, I got you on that. But what happened was, because she is doubling down on this, and not because she's like taking this stance where she's not going to let people tell her that she's not a doctor. And a lot of people in the community are like, hey, nobody's saying that you're not an effective person, like your methods are not effective. We're just saying maybe don't call yourself a doctor since you're not a doctor. So they're talking about like doing life coach, call yourself a life coach, call yourself a consultant type of things, but take the doctor part off since you actually do not have a doctorate degree. But what happened was, instead of hearing the correction, and that's the way that I perceived that it was initially brought forth, is just a way to bring correction, she doubled down on it, and it started feeling like an attack. And so now then her conversation started getting like cussing people out and things like that. And what happened was, as I was watching the things play out and watching some of the clips that came over with social media, I was like, wow. And I immediately heard soul tie. And that's when I was like, wow. And so it's not a sexual soul tie, but it's her being soul tied to this persona, this story, this narrative that she brought up. And it's having a negative effect at this point, because when people are just saying like, show the receipts, she doesn't have any to show. And so now her integrity at this point now is being questioned. But instead of her just kind of taking it and owning it, she's really just like doubling down on it. And well, I'm gonna do the Lord's work and what he told me to do. And listen, you should always do the Lord's work if that's what he's telling you to do. But the question is he telling you that's what he wants you to do still? Because once again, purpose is the same, but assignments change. So I think that's something that sometimes we forget. And so because of this soul tie that she's connected to this a story, this persona that she's built in her mind, she doesn't want to let it go. But my question that I brought to the other channel, and I posed to you guys as well, is it possible that Abba is trying to reassign her, give her a different assignment, but she's so, she's so soul tied and tied into what she currently is doing and the current assignment that she's in, that she's missing possibly another door of opportunity, that if she would just own it and kind of take the accountability for it, who knows what Abba would have who knows what Abba would do with that, right? You know what I mean? Because he always wants us to maintain integrity, because that's who he is, you know what I mean? And so it brought up the question to me. Like I said, I when I was listening to it, I don't really believe that they meant for the correction to be malicious or anything. I really feel like it was just a, hey sis, like real talk, we don't want you to get in trouble, so maybe just call yourself a coach, a consultant or something. But she was like, no, like, I'm not doing that. That's not and nobody's talking about the effectiveness of her work. They've seen her work, and apparently she's made some really good, effective practices and stuff like that with the people that she's worked with. But they're just telling her, don't call yourself a doctor. But she's so tied into it now. She's now making it seem like everybody is attacking her. And so, that's what brought up the soul tie. So soul ties make the effects of a soul tie, especially when it's a negative soul tie, makes you hear truth as an attack. You see what I'm saying? So, because they're giving her truth. If you do not have this, if you didn't because here's what I'm saying. If you go through high school from freshman year all the way to your senior year, but you don't finish, meaning you could be like 3 credits away, but if you didn't finish, you don't graduate. You don't get a diploma. You know what I'm saying? Like you did go through all those, but you're short some credits is what I'm saying. And so because of that, because you're short those credits, we can't tell you that you are a graduate. You don't get to say, well, I went through all the classes and then so that makes me a graduate. No, the completion of the course makes you a graduate. But you do have to show that you completed the course. And that's really one of the issues that she's running into. And as a result of being, connected, because she's built this persona, she's built this life around the Dr. Cheyenne Bryant brand, that she could possibly be missing an opportunity that Abba wants to bring her into a different place, reassign her to something different that will open up the windows of heaven. But she's doubling down on this, and it's really truly because it's the effects of a soul tie. But she's feeling like the truth that's being spoken to her is an attack. And when truth comes out, it's never to be for an attack. That's just not how Abba works, right? You know what I mean? He tells you truth, but he corrects you in love. And but you don't, if you don't have that relationship with him, you don't know, you don't receive it from different places, because he doesn't always come and tell you during your prayer time. He may send somebody else to tell you. So don't be so quick to shut down, truth and revelation, or the people that Abba is using to send that information to you. You know what I mean? And so that's one effect of a soul tie. Another soul tie that's been in the news lately is there's a judge, right, in Atlanta, who her and her, I guess this cop that was there, and they were literally having sex in her chambers, to the point where it was so loud that other employees that in the building overheard it and made a complaint. And a lot of people are kind of like, what difference does it make? It's their business. And I got you on that. But the truth of the matter is, it does make a difference, because you were at work. You know what I mean? Like, what you do at home on your own time, that's your business. But you were in your office at the courthouse, you know what I mean, having sex. And that's something that should be done at home, and it should be done off grounds of this building of where you work, right? You shouldn't be having sex at work in your office. You're supposed to be working. And it's interesting to see like people just really kind of like they don't see what the problem is. And I was just like, yo, and it really just tells you where we are these days. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's a sexual soul tie, right? You know what I mean? That I'm talking about with her, because and same with the cop, you know what I mean? Because I believe he got in trouble and she didn't, because because she's a judge or whatever. But the truth of the matter is, what were you using wisdom? Now I don't know if any of these people are what their relationship status is with the Lord, or if they believe in him or not. So this is just something that I saw in the news, and again, it kind of just touched on another level of a soul tie. And the reason I say that it's a soul tie is because soul ties, especially negative and demonic soul ties that happen, they're strengthened with sex. And it made her do something that she most likely, and I don't want to say made her, because she's nothing can make you do anything. So she definitely had a decision to make. But what it does is it makes you throw out reason, because you don't get to where you are as a judge or as a cop, because I think he was a high level cop as well, without using wisdom. And it just wasn't wise. Like, you know what I mean? It wasn't a wise decision. It has nothing to do with, oh, they grown. Yeah, they are grown. But do you have sex at your office? Like, especially if loud, because the recording is like, oh my goodness. And so it's not even like trying to be incognito. It's just like, I don't really care. I don't give a F. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just, I want it and I want it now. And that's basically what came across. And that's the effects of a soul tie. You literally put your job in jeopardy. You put your job in jeopardy. You put your name in jeopardy, because like there's a level of respect that I don't know that they will be able to continue to have, that they possibly once had as a Black woman judge, a top a higher level officer. And you guys are doing things that do not show that you guys have any type of integrity, and it's because of the soul tie. The soul tie makes you throw out all reason. It doesn't, you can't make sense of the things that happen when someone is operating out of the effects of a demonic soul tie. And that's just it, and that's all. And so anyway, that's pretty much it. I just kind of wanted to like bring some other examples and kind of, get into the discussion and show people that soul ties are not just, built and strengthened during sex. They're built and strengthened based off of relationship. And as long as the relationship is being, maintained and nurtured and things like that, then it will be a healthy soul tie. But as soon as it, veers, to a different, takes a different alternate direction, then it can easily turn demonic. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe, and I believe they both were married. So, it's like you guys got busted. You know what I mean? So now not only did you do this at work, but your affair was like leaked to the masses. And so I can only just imagine what their families are going through, those kind of things, and the embarrassment and the shame that was brought forth, because the video is very, very detailed and loud and things like that. And so it just be careful about the soul tie thing. You know what I mean? Like a lot of times people feel like that, especially when it comes to sex relationships, that Abba, because he told us do not have sex outside of marriage, that it was just like him, trying to hold, stuff from us and keep us from certain things. And to an extent it is, but the Bible tells us he does not withhold good things from us. And so the issue is, was it a good thing? You know what I mean? You're already married, and now having this, extramarital affair, and to the point where that was already a bad decision, because if you don't want to be in the relationship no more, you should just go. And I know some people are like, that's easier said than done, but you trying to have your cake and eat it too does not just affect you. So now their families are all affected, they're wounded and everything like that. And then, like I said, your reputation. And so that can be destroyed when you submit or yield to the effects of a soul tie, especially a negative soul tie. So it just trips me out, like as I continue to watch these different shows and hear things in social media, or seeing that's on the news and things like that, some of the topics that are coming up, because as I was studying about soul ties and things like that and discussing them in regards to on my other channel, I talk about the relationships and soul ties as it pertains to, couples in this particular TV show. I was just opening up my eyes more and more to see. And it just is like, we first of all can't limit the fact that we understand and know that soul ties can be more than just sex. They can be too. You can be soul tied to this assignment, to this narrative, to this story, or this assignment that Abba gave you temporarily, to the point where, when he tells you to move on or he's opened another door, you don't want to, and you could be forfeiting like this new great opportunity because you're stuck on the past and he's trying to move you forward. And I think that's kind of what could have possibly been going on with Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. I honestly think Abba was trying to give her a way to, course correct, so that a bigger opportunity and things like that can come forth in her. It was never about, if she's not skilled, because it sounds like she is. Nobody was saying that, or initially. Now, so I think, because now she's not able to show the receipts, so now her credibility is on, is in question and things like that. So, but if she would have just taken the course correction, it could have opened up something different from her. And now I think right now, she's kind of getting a little bit of both. I think, some people, are kind of throwing in their opinion and believing that, like, it ain't that big of a deal. And that's, to each its own, right? You know what I mean? But integrity does matter. The reputation of a person does matter. And that's one of the reasons why, in her case, she's fighting tooth and nail to maintain that status of doctor in her, because that's part of her reputation. As far as this judge and this cop, you know what I mean? They, the reputation is damaged. Like, it's in the news, it's like all over the internet. Like, that'll never be taken away, and now you have to deal with that. So this is not me being judgmental. This is me saying, be careful of what happens and the decisions that you make when they're not making sense on why you're doing this or why someone else is doing that. You could truly be under the effects of a soul tie, and it's just making you do what you want to do so that you can get what you want to get at all costs. Don't matter who gets hurt, like, as long as you get what you want. And that's the effects of a soul tie. It doesn't care about anybody else. Why? Because it's a negative spirit, right? And so anyway, that's the discussion for today. Let me know what you guys think in regards to soul ties. Have you ever notice that you started a relationship, it doesn't matter, friendship or anything, in a good way, and eventually it turned negative and you could not get out of it because you were soul tied to this person? It could be a friend. It could be friends that you're soul tied to, right? David and Jonathan in the Bible, they were like aces. They were soul tied to each other. There was no, sexual relationship. They was just aces. So I'm saying there's different ways that you can be soul tied and connected to people, but also understand that you can be soul tied and connected to your assignment, to the point where when Abba wants to shift things, you're doubling down like Dr. Cheyenne, and she could literally be forfeiting an opportunity. So don't get so stuck on the assignment that you miss a new opportunity. Okay. So anyway, that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think of this conversation. Once again, go over to the YouTube channel. For those who are listening to this on Spotify and all the other platforms, feel free to go over to the YouTube channel. I am Abba's Girl, and just put your comments down there. I check those comments very often, and I do get into conversations about people who disagree. Just, we can disagree with each other. You can let me know what you think, and I'll definitely sit and, mull on it. I don't know everything. This is just telling you what I'm thinking and what I'm kind of picking up during, in my spirit when I hear these things and stuff like that. And I believe that's a start of a very good relationship and community, when we understand, because for some reason something got lost with the we can agree to disagree thing. I'm not that, like, I do believe that you can agree to disagree, and you can be able to articulate and have a discussion on why you think something is true versus not, and we don't have to always come to the same conclusion in perspective, but we might in some cases. And that's happened to me before. So, definitely bring your insight in, and let's see what kind of discussion we get into and what else Abba brings to light as we talk about the effects of a soul tie. So once again, thank you so much. Please feel free to go over to the YouTube channel, and please like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next week video. Bye.